Hey guys, welcome back to Parkitect. In today's episode, I'm going to be showing you the Coaster V diorama challenge for August. And so this month we got a special layout designed by Dan Ambley on the Discord. He's built a couple of the, said layouts throughout the competition. So I think he's designed, I don't know all of them on the top of my head. I know that one of them was the wooden coaster. And I think the other one was the mine train plus the river rapids was the other one. So he has given us an interesting layout this time. It's a flying coaster. And the interesting thing about it is that most of it's at a diagonal, which makes it very interesting and quite difficult to maybe work around. So the only thing that the thing that I would change is the tunnel here. So that's changing when I get to on the map. And now with the chain lift at a diagonal, it does make a problem for catwalks. So I gotta think what to do with the map. But yeah, I'll just get into the time lapse and see what I've actually picked for this month. I'll see you over there. Okay, here we are in the time lapse of Obsidian Valley. So we're actually gonna jump ahead. So I didn't record my first section because I wanted to get like some, how would I put it? Some grounding, some anchor points in a way. So I just went into the map, I did some terraforming, and then I picked my theme quite quickly in the map. I actually had two themes for this map. I had a shipwreck, like shark type of reef type of map, and once I looked at the map and I saw that, I'm like, I don't know if I can fit that in at all. So I have decided just to go for a very, I don't know if I want to say like this is a generic map or generic theme, but I picked like a Wild West Western with steampunk and lava and snow type of theme. So to explain this further, I found a picture on New Element, which is an RCG2 community that posts their creations and stuff, and I was browsing through that for inspiration, which is a great place to go, by the way. And I saw this frontier type of map. It had lava, western buildings, and snow. And you probably already saw, if you follow me on Twitter, I posted a comparison shot between that picture and the final product of Obsidian Valley. And that's the map I basically pulled inspiration from, and that's what I basically built for this month. I kind of just wanted to make it kind of chill and easy. And yeah, I just went for it. So it's just kind of weird things that shouldn't be, like snow and lava shouldn't be near each other, and western buildings near lava shouldn't be near each other because it's made of wood. But again, this is kind of like a fantasy, sci-fi, steampunk type of map, and I think it fits well with the flying coaster because the flying coaster is kind of mysterious and like, I don't know, fantasy based, and I wanted to do some different type of custom supporting than I usually do. So this map itself does not have custom supports mod, so that mod is not in here at all. The only mod I use are mostly from 210, so that would be the Yeehaw mod. I think I use a little bit of the pirate mod, the resort mod for the pipes and stuff. The Isotech mod really helped a lot in this one because of the snow pieces and the other things that he has in that mod. So I used about only his mods usually, and then everything else was like custom supported out of shapes in Freedom 2K. So this map was kind of a exercising of what I can do with Freedom 2K as well, because I'm still learning said mod, even though it looks like I've done really well with it. But again, it's still experimentation for this mod. And also, I think also the other thing with Freedom 2K that everybody keeps having this like block with, or like creative block, is that they feel like they have to use on everything. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to use on every creation that you work on. So if you can achieve it in vanilla Parkitect, go for it. If you can't achieve it, then you use Freedom 2000. But even with Freedom 2000 already giving you the ability to flip pieces is already a big one, right? So forcing yourself to use it kind of loses the creativity a part of it. So this map was kind of, I didn't want to really like focus on making Freedom 2000 its main focus and be like, oh yeah, look, I built this entire building out of one piece because I used Freedom 2000. I didn't really think I needed to showcase that in this map, so I kind of went with a very basic Western theme for that reason. And then I used Freedom 2000 where I needed it. Like the support system that I built for the coaster is made out of like wooden struts and structure, like wooden pillars. And so I used Freedom 2000 to its full extent because I wanted these wooden supports to kind of give that feel that this coaster's built on wooden supports over lava, which is kind of weird and kind of cool at the same time. So as I rambled about why this was a thing, I've already built the station, and I've already built this like lava siphon building. Not sure. I'm kind of just making things up as I go because that's kind of how I roll when I work on a theme that's very obscure and not really like real. So I just kind of went with that. I did experimentations with how to do like different lava type of things. So you'll see maybe later on what pieces I use there. So I'll explain those pieces later. Right now for the station, which was also the difficult part about this map, was the station platform itself, because there's 3 sections. There's 2 sections where the track recrosses itself over the station. So there's the first section where the train leaves the station and goes down that helix off to the left. It goes under the station. Okay, that's easy to kind of work around. But the second one was the 0G twist over the station. That was a difficult thing to kind of comprehend. I'm like, okay, so Dan, why did you build it doing this? And I think I know why. He did that to piss either me and Robo off at this point. And Mystery Unit. Mystery Unit has also been like pissed off about this too. So I think it's funny. So I think out of Dan's designs, I think this one's pretty interesting versus the Mine Train one and the River Rapids one was a pain because I had to build Atlantis over that because I didn't want to do Western. That was like the cop out theme for that one, which is kind of the funny thing. Is like I don't want to pick a theme that matches said coaster, so I want to try to make it different. So that's why this month is kind of like different environment entirely, and this one's not really going to be based off realism. I wasn't going to do that at all. So as we jump ahead, I wanted to add some interesting flat ride interaction and use a flat ride that no one really uses. So I decided to build 2 elevator shafts that cross one of the sections of track that kind of curves upwards, and I want to make like this factory tower that the guests can get to interact with, and it gives more, I don't know, verticality for the guests to kind of walk around in. So I felt like that was a cool way to start. And the elevator piece is not really used a lot. I don't see it in a lot of creations. It is a hard piece to use, in my opinion. Like, it's really difficult to kind of use it appropriately. Only in like a scenario where it's like very vertical and there's like cliffs and stuff, I think an elevator would be useful. But like on a flat map, elevators are not really useful at all. But I think that's the point of the elevator, is it's very niche, right? So I decided to use it this time as a flat ride or a way to transport guests between these 2 pieces of track. Because I'm also suggesting that this park continues on. I mean, it is supposed to be a realistic park of some sort, but very, very fantasy. Because honestly, what theme park can make lava a prop? There's like no way, unless you have a dark ride of some sort. But this is all outside, so it's like kind of weird. But again, I'm taking liberties. Again, it's Parkitect. I can make up my own worlds in these dioramas, which is I like doing so much. So just here figuring out just the style of buildings, because I try to keep the buildings to be cohesive with each other, which is the hard part to do in any map, I think, is the cohesion between buildings, and also not making sure that the buildings don't like look the same if you look at them from a distance. That's always the challenge. And so I'm always changing colors. I'm always changing the way the building looks, especially with Western. Everything is either square or rectangle, because that's what a Western building is. You build them very simple so that you can build them up quickly, and it's very cheap. So I try to change the way they look. And this new, like, I don't know, you want to call this wooden pillar system that I made with the shapes, which I think is a really cool way to do like big wooden pillars and structures to give it that different look, different feel to how the whole build looks. So I tried some different support systems, trying to make sure the clearance doesn't, hit the train. But honestly, if the guests get clipped a little bit, I really don't care because it doesn't matter. They're just dummies, right? No, kidding. They're not dummies. They're real people. No, I don't know if they're real people. They're peeps. They're just guests. But I'll try to limit the clipping as best I can, especially in how close this train really gets to some of the items. OSHA would not be happy with me, but again, OSHA doesn't exist in this world. HappyCo does. So HappyCo doesn't need to be that as strict as OSHA. So that's always convenient. So this is just more detailing, more rocks and stuff. So at this point, I wanted to try out using these planks from, I think these are from the Pirate mod. Yes, these are from the Pirate mod. And I wanted to kind of make like a, I don't know what you want to call it, like a wooden guard for the train to kind of swoop around. And I think that was a cool idea to kind of give it some, I'm giving the track and the coaster like some storytelling elements because I feel like the coaster itself could be the storytelling part of the map. So whatever these miners use this coaster for, they use it for something to either mine the obsidian or mine lava or gather it, and so I'm going to use it as decorational. So that's why I think it's really cool to try to make the coaster incorporate into your design and not necessarily just build around it for the sake of it. Because I've noticed that some builders, I'm not like griping on anybody's abilities right now, really. I'm just like noticing how they pick a theme and they just build around the coaster, and then the coaster just kind of exists among the scenery, and they don't really like are together. And so I try to put that into one, or at least I think I'm trying, because I don't know if I'm fully like doing that, but I want to make the coaster part of this world. Because again, I want to make you forget that this is a challenge, even though that we all have the same coaster to deal with, but I want to make sure that this feels very independent from the other builds that I've produced and what is coming up later, or whoever is building in this challenge. But I'm trying to just make it kind of be part of the map instead of just existing. Do you understand what I'm getting at as I just ramble? So that's the idea behind all of the wooden supporting and then the custom supporting basically in lava, which is really fun to do actually. I like the custom supporting abilities with especially Freedom 2000. Give me that ability to just kind of just build set structures. Rocks and stuff are really nice to use, especially in Freedom 2000, to give them those different edges and looks, because I want to make sure that every environment that I build is like different from the other environments I've built prior. So I'm going to try to do some different rock faces and stuff, and I'm going to use a lot of different pieces, especially, and I'm also limiting myself to only a couple mods. So I think I limited myself to only 5 mods, and then go from there. Also the other mod I just remembered is Fancy Tech. I use Fancy Tech as well in here, which is a really nice mod too. It's a really, really great mod. So I would suggest when you build something with mods, try to limit yourself with mods, not instead of using every single one of them. Because the cool thing about it is that if you use a limited section, one of those pieces might turn into something else, not necessarily the piece that it was intended to be. And I think that's really cool about basically building in this game. So any piece, even from other mods, could be used as something else and not as intended. So like, for example, on top of this tower, I used some snow pieces, I colored them black, and suggest that they're ash instead of snow from the Isotech mod. So at that point, it is now ash. It doesn't have to be snow. Even though it is default white, I was like, nah, I'm going to make it a different color. I want to see what I can do with it. And I used it for a different piece. And I was like, oh, cool. I can use different pieces from different mods to kind of change up the way it looks. That's kind of how my philosophy is with vanilla Parkitect. Like, all the pieces in Parkitect could be used for other things. Especially the chocolate bar. Again, I'm going to keep saying it. The chocolate bar doesn't have to be a chocolate bar. It could be iron grates. It can be iron rebar. It could be just roughed up structure or something on the floor. It doesn't have to be chocolate anymore, and that's what's so cool about it. Same thing with like the peppermint piece. Doesn't have to be peppermint anymore. It could be a shiny metal piece because it's shiny. And that's why I use that for metal. Same thing with some of the, like the very generic pieces. Shapes are very good for doing detailing on things, and they're not necessarily what they are. Changing the color of an object usually, in my opinion, changes the material of what they will be in my mind. So that's why I use shapes for mountains sometimes, because they could be like mountains. I can just fill in areas without just using the rock piece all the time. That's the only other thing I like doing about Parkitect in general. Just lets you have that creativity and freedom with those pieces. So limiting myself with mods also did the same thing here too. So I was using different pieces in different areas, trying to see if I can change out how things would look. So that's funny. That little shelf mod from, I think, the Resort Tech. You can resize them up to 10. So I haven't decided what to use those yet for, but I have an idea of maybe what to use those for in the later times. I don't know. But I also like the idea of having a 100% straight vanilla build, which might happen in one of our challenges, because I think Coaster B put up a poll, and it won out for vanilla only diorama. So that means no construction anarchy, no Freedom 2000, only asset models. So regular vanilla assets. And I think that would be fun. I'm hearing griping from either, is it Robo? Mr. Unit? I think Dan's been like complaining about it, that they don't want to, but I think it would be a challenge for even the expert builders to try it out. I'm down for it. I'm so down for it, because I just started a new series on mini dioramas, and that's 100% vanilla, and it's on like 2020 by 2020 set land, and I'm going to sit there and just build something for 2 hours. So I challenged myself. I have a time limit. I can only build for 2 hours on this 2020 space, and it has to be vanilla, and then I produce a said diorama for something, and then I will post it, and then that will be a new series. That's already going. I already did the first episode last week, and we'll just go from there. So yeah, I think a vanilla build would be pretty fun to see what some of the creators can do, because I know that having restrictions can be a bummer. I agree on some of that. Like I agree that it could be a very big bummer to have restrictions, but I like restrictions because it can make you more creative in what you can do with said restrictions. So that's why I feel like Parkitect feels like Lego, because there's a set thing you can do with Lego. So Legos can stack. They can stack on their side or have no studs on top, things like of that nature. And you still have to build something pretty cool out of it, or try to build something that's eye-catching or out of this world. And I feel like Lego is the perfect comparison to Parkitect's restriction. And I think that's the most fun part about doing a vanilla build, because Freedom 2000 has solved so many of my problems, right? But I'm not as creative as doing it in vanilla. So again, this is 100% my philosophy. You don't have to follow this at all, but this is how I think of when mods are useful and when they're not useful. And I feel like sometimes mods are there's so much that it just overwhelms the user, and you're just like, well, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to give up, and then we lose creators or we lose new builders. And we need everybody to everybody should jump in this game and try it out for themselves. And you won't be good at the beginning, because I know I wasn't. I was really bad at this game. I was really bad at decorating stuff. I mean, my first build was a coffee, I think, log cabin or something, and I made pillars, and I hand placed the pillars without holding Alt, because I didn't know Alt existed. I didn't know that was a thing of lock things on grid, and that build is so ugly. I know it's on the workshop still, but it's really bad. But again, I learned from said mistakes, and I got better because of other builders and other inspirations, and just working hard at it. Just practice. And yeah, this was just kind of that type of thing. So mods have a good place for it, and sometimes they don't. But in this build right now, I use quite a good number of mods, but I still kind of try to keep the whole original Parkitect type of feel by doing some regular pieces and things of that nature. So like this bridge here is all made out of shapes. I want to make some type of kind of like a suspension bridge, but not really. It's made of wood and then iron, and then it kind of just goes over the train or the coaster track. Not necessarily train, but coaster track, and then kind of go from there. Yeah, just kind of doing the detail things that you normally would do. Because I was on a roll. I was like just booking it for this build. That clockwork flat ride does not exist there. That goes away because it's just, yeah, ugly. So that goes away, which is fine. And then, let's see, what else is going to happen here? Hold it. I am not paying attention. I should just pay attention. So, oh yeah, Freedom 2000, try to do some cable stuff. That's really helpful, actually. Doing the ropes and cables and things is using Freedom 2000, which I like to use. So I think that's pretty nice to do. It depends on what you want to do, basically. So we'll see how it all. Well, I've seen how you guys have probably already seen how it all turns out. So again, it's just figuring out different styles, different things, different detailing. Again, that's why I try to use a different. I want to call it a. I want to do a different theme for what I've previously done. But again, this Western one kind of feels the same as. Actually, it doesn't feel the same. It feels a little different from the other Western one I'm thinking of. The first one was Silver. Was it called Silver Eagle? I think. I can't remember the first one. It was a wing coaster. That was the first challenge. So that one was a fun one. Doing the first diorama challenge and everything. So again, we didn't all know what to expect, and things just went from there. So I'm quite glad on doing these challenges. So as we jump ahead, here we are with some mock mountains, and the structures for the chain lift already has been put up. So this is just my wooden pillar system that I wanted to try with the shapes. And I feel like this gives this coaster a completely different look. It feels like it's going to be like a mine train, but it's upside down. And so right now I'm going to try to figure out some different mountain techniques. So I get to use some of the mountain pieces from the Yeehaw set. Those are pretty cool rock pieces because you can color them because they have two tones. And so I made them white with a blue tinge to it to kind of simulate ice and snow. And so I get to use these pieces actually a lot, and I do like how all of them are resizable, and the texture is pretty close to like default Parkitect, which I appreciate 210 trying to keep the mods, his mods, pretty close to the art style of the game. Because when you start trekking away from the art style of the game, those pieces pop out, and then you have an issue. I have an issue with how they pop out. But right now they look pretty. They are pretty good. I like these pieces the most. I would probably use these for a Western thing as well, but I also like doing Western mountains the way I do it with the shapes and rocks. I mean, again, most of my builds are vanilla in itself, so I like to keep that normal type of thing, normal vanilla as much as possible. And if I can't replicate it, and then I'll use a mod. But that's again my philosophy on all mods in general for me, because I don't know, that's just how this works. That's how I think about it. I'm not like, I'm not anti-mod. I'm like, oh, that would be silly. Mods are great to fill in those gaps that the developers didn't get to do because either the developers are really busy or not into making things for their game for right now. I mean, I'm not saying that the developers for Parkitect do this, but they are busy working, I think, on another game, I'm assuming. I'm not really sure. But I hope they're working on something new, because they've been working on Parkitect for 6 years, 7 years now, which is a long time. So I think it's time for a new game from them, and I will be super excited, and I will support said game. I want to see what this is all about, and if the community can then take over and add mods and new features to the game, that's great. It makes the game even more versatile and more fun to play. I mean, look at Roller Coaster Tycoon, got Open RCT 2. That is being developed by the community, and the game is even better now and more popular. So Parkitect can also go down the same pathway, and both games could coexist. Same with Planet Coaster. They can all coexist, which is the coolest thing about games like these. They can coexist in the same market, and everybody gets to enjoy the game for different reasons, for different things. Because I still like Planet Coaster's like freedom of building, and their coaster builder's pretty good. I just prefer Parkitect over Planet Coaster at this point, because I just do. I don't know how I would explain it. Well, I don't know. I like the art style for Parkitect better than, let's say, Planet Coaster. Planet Coaster is very realistic. Again, that's why we call Planet Coaster the RCT3 like spiritual successor, and then Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 is Parkitect. Parkitect is its spiritual successor, so it kind of goes from there both ways. So I like that. That's really nice. So now we're like basically 15 minutes into this. Actually, no, I have 15 minutes left. We're only 25 minutes in. So on to building Western Town, right near the depot. I found the depot this month very easy to cover. Not like previous months. This depot was not in a horrible spot. It's kind of in the beginning of the park. So it kind of dictated, like, okay, well, I'm just going to build a Western Town right here. Might as well. So I'm going to build some very basic buildings, but I'm going to stack them on top of each other, kind of suggesting that the miners kind of just built a ramshack village on top of each other because it's a small space and they want to keep closer to said mine and kind of go from there. So I just kind of copied the simple mining building technique. Is square, some tapered tops, some different designed edges, and then just go from there. So just experimenting again. It's sometimes really boring to do Western building, so that's why I don't like showing it off, because it's a very, very boring process. It's just squares. Now with this build though, because it's steampunk, I have some now liberties to add some like gears and pipes to said building, which wouldn't exist in a Western town, but this is a sci-fi steampunk map. Again, maybe the miners are not even human. Maybe they're dwarves. I don't know. I haven't really like developed more of a story because I'm not good at it, but making it a basic story, in my opinion, makes the map more grounded. I do kind of like. I think that's the best thing you can do. Actually, is kind of when you build a design of something, kind of make a basics of a story, and it kind of make it more real or more catching, and then you can go from there. So this is a really cool little technique. I took the candy cane, flipped it upside down a couple times, and made pipes kind of weave up and down, and then I stuck it into the ground. So this is a cool new way to use the candy cane. Again, those candy pieces always come and save my butt. I love them so much at this point. Like, they're so good. Candy pieces. I'm going to thank Gabby again for making those wonderful little pieces. They're like just perfect. So I've used those candy pieces actually a lot recently. I think in the second diorama that I'm working on for my mini diorama series. So you'll see that probably later, because I'm also making those at the same time. Those are really easy to make because of how I only have 2 hours to build, and then I barely edit it, and then I'm going to send it out. So I'm probably going to go like 15 episodes with that series or something, maybe even more, depending on how much fun. I'm having too much fun with the vanilla stuff, so that's why I haven't really touched. I haven't touched Freedom 2000 and Construction Anarchy in like 2 weeks. I haven't touched it really, so that's why I haven't really touched American Adventure. And I haven't really done anything else besides this diorama. And I've been thinking about not doing the next month's diorama, because taking a break from said competition might be a good thing. So then I can maybe focus on American Adventure, or work on the water park that needs to be worked on for American Adventure. So Harbors of America need to be at least broken ground. I need to get working on it. Or I can also work on the mini golf, which I've been postponing. Again, I have all these projects that I'm postponing, because some things are ramping up at in real life. Like I'm going back to work in about a week because we're starting a new school year, so I have to somewhat focus on that. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. But I'm just kind of taking it day by day. But the vanilla stuff, I've been really like going ham on. I love doing the vanilla stuff. Like I built, if you already saw it on Twitter and or on the Reddit or the Discord, I built a diving vessel from Anno 1800, and so that was all built out of vanilla pieces, and that was fun to do. So I might be doing again more vehicles and stuff out of vanilla pieces just because, or props and things. So all these pieces could be used in vanilla Parkitect, which is like I think cool. So here's a cool little piece that I've never used really, is the cake piece. So the cake piece is very, it's just a giant cake prop that you can use from the candy set. So at this time I made them black, and I made them kind of stacked upon each other, and it looks like cooled lava. So I did like this technique the most because it's shiny and it's big and round. I can resize them. It has this like curved edges, and that's what I really like about the piece. So I used this to simulate the cooled lava effect. That was the first thing actually I built on this map to test out my theory, because I like to test out my theme theory out on the map and then see if I like it, and if I like it a lot, I'll just go with it. So that's a technique that I've used, is that you just build some like prop thing, or like a test prop in the corner or on the map itself, and then be like, okay, do I like this? And then if you like it, you just carry it over the map, plop it down, and then you just kind of build around it. That's kind of what I do. I also like doing just like prop exercising. Basically, you just take all the props, pour like Lego, you pour them out. If you put them out on the map, you stare at them, take a piece, take another piece, combine them, and see what it turns into. And then if you don't like it, you can always just start over. So it's just kind of just combining pieces together and see what it makes, because I don't know what it's going to look like at the end, but that's why I'm just sitting there messing with pieces. And that's what sometimes takes the longest time, is messing with pieces. And the challenge is also is that sometimes I'm so like subconscious on like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to combine these pieces. I think it'll look stupid. Even without them being combined, you should just try it anyway and see what happens. So that's basically what you need to do, is just not be afraid of combining parts. Just do it. Just see what happens. If you don't like it, it's okay. Just try it. If you like it, blueprint it, save it, and then use it for another thing later. So like during builds like this, I might make something that is not really meant to be Western, and then it's meant for like, I don't know, another sci-fi map. And so I'll keep that in the back of my mind, or blueprint it, and then go from there. So it's been great, actually. It's been great. So how to make pieces and stuff like that, and yeah, it goes from there. So so here comes some of the cool things with the, as I mentioned way before, about using pieces not intended. So these are the new signs that were added to, I think, Fancy Tech. They're just like fancy, like, I don't even want to call them Victorian signs of some sort. So I decided to add some brackets to the wooden supports. So that was a fun addition to do. And then, oh yeah, we also use sci-fi tech for the glowing embers in the wood. So I built those on a stream, and I think Robo helped me out with those design. I was kind of just like winging it. He was just telling me how to kind of put lighting together and then hide wooden pieces to kind of suggest it's been touched by lava and it's just sitting there burning. So that's kind of what I did here. The coin piece from the pirate set is the rivets of the bracket. So again, those are not being used as intended. They're being used as brackets. So using pieces not intended is I think the best way to go, especially in designing stuff. Because again, I'm using Parkitect as a 3D modeler at this point. It's not necessarily a theme park game anymore. It's a medium. It's a modeler of some sort. I just prefer Parkitect versus Planet Coaster or Roller Coaster Tycoon. So this has just been fun doing it this way, especially the embers. The glowing embers really gets me. Like, I can't believe I did that. There's some, let's see, I use pillars, and then I use this spiky roof piece from Parkitect that has these like these rivets on it, or these like ridges, and turning them upside down and making them smaller, kind of giving that breaking wood apart type of thing was kind of a cool idea. So I added most of these burning pieces on most of the supports that were near lava or somewhat near a hot area. But man, this coaster's the support system's like all burned up, which I think is funny. So they're the most eye-catching part actually out of all of the, I want to say all of the like the build. So over here is like one of the last set of buildings. I had some issues filling out some of the park's edges. Like near the pretzel loop, I wanted more mountains, and so I'm going to make more mountain peaks and stuff, so I get to do that. And then I built myself a little like lava assembly system where it just says buckets of lava go across the ravine on cables, and then they get dumped off into this green building. So this is like some type of lava power plant that powers most of the facilities. That's kind of what I was going for. Again, I wanted more interaction with the coaster in a building. Again, I think it's very important to have interaction with your coaster with either paths or another structure of some sort, or maybe a mountain. And so I kind of do this here as well. Yeah, this is just making custom walls again. This is just pillars and walls to suggest that it's made of wooden planks. I've done this before in a Western build. Nothing new for me, but it's a way to kind of change up my wall usage. Because I could use the other wooden wall pieces, but they're more horizontal in their way versus vertical. And vertical, I think, is also fun to have. So it's been a blast doing that. And then more custom supporting out of the shape pieces. Those are always been fun to do. Just trying to keep it all cohesively the same, and making sure that wheels don't get clipped, but they do every once in a while, which happens. It's okay. It's not like a big deal. So this factory needs some pipes and gears and maybe a smokestack of some sort. Still trying to keep it Western looking, but also maybe a little bit of a steampunky type of feel. So that's also the hard part about doing something that's very, very fanciful, very, very fantasy. Yikes. But again, I've done this before, nothing new, but I wanted to try at least change it a little bit. But I'm also trying to fill up the map too, because my main POIs would be the station, the elevator shafts with the big smokestack thing, and then the chain lift and the mountain peaks are kind of my main POIs, and maybe the Western Town too. Because I at least need to try to make at least a couple good POIs. So that's kind of the gist of that. The roofs were from the Yeehaw mod, and I like to do, because it comes with 2 different colors on those roofs, and I like to switch the colors back and forth between each different roof piece to make it look different from each other, because when you put down the same pattern over and over again, it kind of looks the same, and I feel like that doesn't make it like unique anymore. So changing up the colors between each roof piece also works with a modded roof. Same thing with when I just do a regular vanilla roof. I just make it like with 3 different tones of that color and then go from there. So I do the same thing with these roofs, and it actually works out really well. Except for that I put a whole bunch of snow on them, I just realized. But hey, I know it's there. Subconsciously, I know it's there, but it's okay. So on to more snow building, mountain building, kind of filling up all the things. This pipe is like a dump pipe that dumps out excess lava from said plant and then goes from there. I wanted some gears or something kind of on the outside, kind of suggesting that these are actually making the machine work. They probably don't make sense, but I did it anyway to add some ocean, kinetic energy, again, because I think kinetic energy is very important for a map. So I kind of just stuck things on the outside, kept them in the same default color, because those colors are actually really good for like gears and stuff. I wish the gears were triggerable by the effects controller, because that would be great to have them on and off every once in a while, but I don't know how hard that would be to implement if Sebastian was going to do it. So, but I would love to do it. I would love to have that option, just like the lights have triggerable options. So here's the the dump pipe that will dump lava into another pool that turns into 2 lava falls. So again, I'm just suggesting that got made because of lava and dumping out. So I used the cake piece again, the smallest one I think I did, and then it did the glowing effect trick. Kind of just made it coming out. I think I had some fire pieces and things of that nature to make it more glowy and on fire. And then glowing pieces on the in the inside to make it glow at night. So there's a lot of glowing pieces that I use from the sci-fi deck, which is a really cool mod for like glowing pieces. So I suggest you get that mod too. It's a really good one. Here I tried something with the the peppermint piece? That doesn't work out. So that changes, it goes away. So yeah. So this is the map so far, Obsidian Valley. We're gonna go take a tour on the other side. And I'll just show you some key features, maybe some close-ups, and probably just finish it up there. So I'll meet you over at the live view. Okay, here we are in Obsidian Valley. So let's just take a tour of this quick map. The things that I like about it would be the mountains. I like doing the mountains. Mountains is my thing. So just doing some of these ice type of things from the Isotech mod also helped out, and then these peaks are all made from the Yeehaw mod, which has been wonderful. Kind of just filling it in and just making this structure of the environment, basically, of this entire steampunk western type of lava facility. So down here is the western town. We got a couple shops here. We got some different facilities covering up the depot, and then another mountain range to kind of help with that. And then this is like a turbine generator of some sort. I think I used, that is the same piece as over here. So same piece, just different color, different size. And then here's the burning facility or some sort. This maybe either makes iron or something. And then the 2 elevator shafts are here. That kind of connects to both pathways, even though this is connected to on purpose to kind of give the guests more walking around abilities. And then here's the wonderful glowing burning supports. I think these were the fun thing to do. This is like really great. And then all the custom supporting. You can just see all this everywhere. I think it actually brings the coaster more together with the map, as I said before. And here's the buckets with the lava. Things like that. And then here's I think the lava factory, or maybe this is the power plant of some sort. I think it works out okay. It's not the best building, it's not supposed to be. And then lava pouring out over here, and then more lava. And then the outer rim of the map, I kind of did some rock structures, then flipping upside down, and then adding some cracks in the map to kind of suggest more lava and more fracturing. So I just kind of did this here and there. But overall, I think this map was different from my others. Different environment, using lava for the first time really. I think this worked out really well. So it's already in the workshop if you already haven't discovered it or looked at it. And the Coaster Bee diorama challenge probably will start, or the results video probably will be like what, September 3rd or something, depending. We don't know when, but this ends October, not October, oh my gosh, August 30th. So if you're still working on it, get to finishing it up and stuff like that. So let's see what else doing. I thank my Patreons for supporting. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.